And I was gonna go to that I was gonna go to that motherfucking death row chair, a motherfucking hero. That's why I was gonna go to a motherfucking hero to all the real in the world.
What if I told you one of hip-hop's realest legends stared death in the face and walked away? This ain't a story about fame or money. This is the story of Boosie Badazz, Torrance Ivy Hatch Jr., a man who faced death row, bullets, cancer, and over 110 deaths of people he loved, all before hitting 40. They tried to execute him for a crime he didn't commit. They locked him in Angola's hellhole, played his music as evidence against him, and stacked the odds so high nobody would survive. But Boosie, he refused to break, refused to snitch, refused to let the streets or the state take him out. From the hood of Baton Rouge to the front lines of survival, Boosie's life has been a battlefield. Every close call, every loss, every struggle only shaped the man he is today. And yet somehow, he's still standing. This isn't just a story, this is a warning, a lesson, and a testament to resilience, loyalty, and survival. Buckle up, because what you're about to hear isn't just music history, it's the tragic, unbelievable life of Boosie Badazz.
Nah, they basically, when I went in there, I was just like, I want my lawyer. They would say, we got you on 8 murders and all this shit. I want my lawyer, period.
He was just a kid when the streets started teaching him lessons most adults couldn't survive. Torrance Ivy Hatch Jr., known to the world as Boosie Badazz, grew up in the heart of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where danger wasn't an exception, it was the rule. West Garfield Street wasn't a neighborhood, it was a war zone. Bullets, betrayal, and loss were part of daily life. By the time most kids were worrying about homework, Boosie was already watching his first body drop, 10 years old, staring at death like it was just another Tuesday. His family tried to give him structure, tried to give him a way out. His mom, Connie Hatch, was a school principal. Education, rules, a path to a life outside the chaos. His dad, Torrance Hatch Sr., was the street's definition of survival, a man who could build a house and break the law in the same day. A man loved and feared, respected and cursed. Young Boosie saw both sides, discipline and chaos, hope and fear, love and violence. He watched his parents fight, struggled with attention as one of 8 kids, and learned early how to protect himself. By 10, he wasn't just surviving.
I said, and it affects the jurors. Because my prosecutor I said this clear, I said, Marlo Mike up in the back seat begging for a body. And I saw the jurors' face. It was like, and it seemed like it affected it more than the pins on the towers and all that. And I was looking like, damn.
He was working the streets, riding his bike up and down blocks, making $25 a day, alerting the plugs when the cops pulled up. By 13, the streets had already stolen his father, leaving him with a void that no teacher, no preacher could fill. Boosie's grandmother stepped in, but the call of the streets was louder, impossible to ignore. The city was unforgiving, and every corner was a classroom. But Boosie had something that set him apart from every other kid caught in the trap. He could rap. He could spit bars that carried the weight of everything he'd seen. The violence, the loss, the fear, the hustle. His cousin, Young Bleed, put him on with C-Lock, a local rapper. And by 14, Boosie was rolling with the Concentration Camp Collective, the youngest in the crew. At 17, he dropped his first tape, Youngest of Damn, moving over 10,000 units independently. The streets couldn't get enough because his music wasn't entertainment, it was life itself. Everything changed in 2001 when he linked up with Trill Entertainment, a label backed by the legendary Pimp C of UGK. Finally, it looked like Boosie had a ticket out. His projects were selling, the fans were growing, and maybe, just maybe, he could escape the streets for good. But the streets don't let go that easy, and neither do demons carried from childhood. By 19 or 20, Boosie got introduced to lean, the syrup that would almost take everything from him. What started as a sip became an addiction that swallowed him whole. Pints upon pints, sugar, codeine, and a body already weakened by type 1 diabetes. He estimates he spent over $2 million on the stuff over the years. His fridge wasn't just stocked, it was overflowing. Every visit to his house meant a walk past rows of codeine bottles. His health spiraled. Hospital visits became routine, to the point that staff assigned him his own room, 535, because they knew where he'd be every time. When Pimp C died in 2007 from an overdose, many would have taken it as a warning. Boosie? He doubled down. He poured up more. 2 pints a day, 32 ounces, just to feel normal. Nobody could tell him anything. He was the boss in his circle, young, untouchable, or so he thought. His addiction didn't just ruin his health. It tainted his life, his decisions, and his path forward. By the time he hit Angola, Louisiana's notorious maximum security penitentiary, the consequences of his lifestyle were unavoidable. Facing death row, locked away from his supply, Boosie had to confront withdrawals that were almost unhuman. Vomiting, diarrhea, pain so intense he later described it as liquid heroin coursing through his veins. 7 days of pure hell that left scars beyond the body. But when it ended, he walked away sober, alive, and with a mindset forged in fire. The legal battles weren't over. In October 2008, he was pulled over, caught with drugs and a firearm, and slapped with a sentence that would eventually stretch to 4 years due to probation violations. But that was only the beginning. On October 21, 2009, a shooting left 35-year-old Terry Boyd dead in his own home. No forced entry, no robbery, just a clean hit. The prosecutors tied Boyd to Boosie through a tangled web of relationships, family, friends, and street connections. By June 2010, Boosie was charged with first-degree murder. The stakes? Death. They built a case on shaky foundations. A 17-year-old associate named Michael Marlowe, Mike Louding, allegedly carried out the hit for money. His taped confession, phone records, and even a tattoo showing loyalty to Boosie were presented as evidence. They even played Boosie's own music in court, twisting creative expression into confessions of murder. But what they didn't expect was loyalty, honor, and the conscience of a young man who had grown up under Boosie's wing. Marlowe Mike flipped, recanted his original confession, claiming pressure from corrupt cops. He told the jury straight up, Boosie had nothing to do with the murder. The courtroom shifted, the scales tipped, and in May 2012, after less than an hour of deliberation, Boosie was not guilty. Even after surviving death row, his struggles weren't over. Boosie returned to the streets in March 2014 after serving a total of 5 years for drug charges. But the physical and mental toll had left its mark. Every loss, every trauma from childhood, every close call with death had piled up. From shootings to car crashes, from a health crisis like left atrial enlargement to diabetes, his life was a continuous test of resilience. Yet through it all, Boosie maintained a code that few understand today. Silence, loyalty, and respect over everything. Cooperate with the law, and dozens could have gone down, but he refused. Every decision he made was rooted in a philosophy shaped by loss, pain, and survival in the harshest conditions imaginable. Even when cancer hit in 2015, at the age of 33, Boosie fought back. Kidney cancer, renal cell carcinoma, surgery at MD Anderson, 42 pounds lost in recovery, and a body that had to learn to walk again. The man who survived death row and bullets was now battling his own flesh and blood for survival, and he won. By May 2023, after years of checkups, he was officially cancer-free. But life wasn't done testing him. On his 38th birthday, November 14th, 2020, he was shot in the leg during a vigil for a fallen friend. A heart condition followed. Car crashes, chest pains, more losses. Over 110 people close to him. Gone. Violence, accidents, illness. And yet Boosie still stands, still survives, still speaks his truth. The streets tried to take him, the law tried to cage him, disease tried to break him, bullets tried to stop him, and life tried to bury him under loss. But Boosie Badazz didn't just survive. He became a living testament to resilience, loyalty, and the raw, unfiltered reality of life in the struggle. Boosie stepped out of Angola in March 2014, But freedom didn't feel like victory. After 5 years behind bars, he was broken, and facing a world that hadn't slowed down while he was gone. The streets still called his name, but they weren't the same streets he left. The people he once knew were gone, locked up, or buried. And yet, he carried a mindset that few could understand, a resolve forged by facing the very worst and surviving. He knew pain, he knew loss, and he knew how close he had come to death. The first battle after prison wasn't against anyone but himself. Boosie had to stay clean. Years of addiction to lean, sugar, and codeine had left his body in ruins. Diabetes was already a ticking time bomb. Every day was a struggle to keep his health intact. He couldn't touch a drop of syrup without risking everything. So he trained, worked out, rebuilt himself from scratch. Lifting 5-pound weights at first, learning to walk again properly after years of neglect, rebuilding his body, rebuilding his mind. Each drop of sweat was a victory, each day clean, a testament to his willpower. But just as he was finding his footing, life hit him with another blow. In November 2015, the results of routine tests came back with a word nobody wants to hear: cancer, kidney cancer, renal cell carcinoma. At 33, Boosie was facing a disease that had already claimed multiple people in his family. Doctors told him the situation was serious, and the surgery alone would cost him $87,000 out of pocket because he had no insurance. He went under the knife at MD Anderson Cancer Center, and the recovery was brutal. He lost 42 pounds in the weeks following surgery. His body weakened, his mobility limited. Every day was a fight, not just physically but mentally. He had to learn how to walk again, how to feed himself strength, how to reclaim the body he had lost to illness and years of abuse from drugs. And through it all, he refused to be broken. He worked with a personal trainer, starting small, building slowly, curling 5-pound weights one day, 10 the next. By the end of months of relentless work, he was back, stronger, healthier, and ready to face the world. Even after cancer, the streets didn't let him breathe. On his 38th birthday, November 14, 2020, Boosie was caught in a shooting outside Big T's Plaza in Dallas during a vigil for his friend Mo 3, who had been killed days earlier. He took a bullet to the leg. The injury, combined with his diabetes, had people fearing the worst. But Boosie survived, yet again proving he had a way of walking through death and coming out the other side. His challenges didn't end there. In April 2025, a car crash in Atlanta left him with persistent chest pain. Tests later revealed left atrial enlargement, a heart condition that could cause stroke or irregular heartbeat. Doctors warned him, but he kept pushing, kept moving, refusing to let fear or circumstance define his life. Through every hospitalization, every doctor's warning, every bullet dodged, and every loss, Boosie kept one thing constant: resilience. Loss had shadowed his entire life. His father gone when he was 13, older brother killed in a car crash, his grandmother passing in late 2021, followed weeks later by his grandfather. 2 uncles, 2 aunts, countless friends, over 110 people he loved, gone. Most of them victims of violence. And yet through it all, Boosie carried on, refusing to let the weight of grief crush him. Mental health struggles were a constant undercurrent. PTSD from seeing bodies drop since childhood, decades of trauma, the fear and tension of living in a city where violence was everywhere. Boosie carried it all. He openly admitted that he didn't go to therapy, choosing instead to push forward, to channel the pain into survival and music. He knew that vulnerability in the streets could be fatal, so he carried his scars silently but visibly in his actions and words. Music became his lifeline. Every verse, every bar, every project was a reflection of the battles he had survived. Tracks weren't just songs, they were testimony. His lyrics told the story of a man who had stared death in the face, who had faced betrayal, addiction, illness, and violence, and had refused to break. Fans, critics, and peers alike recognized that authenticity. His story wasn't Hollywood glamour. It was raw, unfiltered, and brutal. Boosie's code of loyalty remained unshaken. Even in situations where he could have cooperated with the law and saved himself more trouble, he stayed silent. Rats, he said, are selfish because when you snitch, it's not just about yourself. You're putting families, communities, and futures at risk. This philosophy earned him respect across the country, among those who understood that loyalty and survival often outweigh freedom itself. Through all this, Boosie had learned a lesson that money, fame, or recognition could never teach. Respect is invaluable. Real respect isn't bought. It's earned through endurance, silence, and standing by your principles, even when every choice around you screams to take the easy path. And Boosie had lived those lessons over and over again. Even the young people around him saw the impact. Michael Marlowe Mike Louding, the teenager who initially lied about the murder, eventually confessed the truth. The young man who Boosie had treated like family ended up taking responsibility for his actions, but not before leaving Boosie to carry the weight of suspicion, trials, and threats for years. Boosie's unwavering patience and faith in the young man ultimately led to justice, but it also reinforced what he already knew. Surviving the streets wasn't just about strength, it was about vision, strategy, and trust. Health remained a constant concern. Diabetes, the aftermath of addiction, cancer, bullet wounds, and heart problems, they all reminded Boosie that survival wasn't just about avoiding bullets or prison bars. It was about maintaining his body, his mind, and his will to keep moving forward. Every day was a victory, every breath a miracle. Yet through all the chaos, the pain, and the loss, Boosie never lost sight of his identity. He remained true to the streets that shaped him, to the fans that supported him, and to the code that kept him alive. Loyalty, resilience, and authenticity became his armor. Every project, every public appearance, every story told was a testament to a life that refused to be defined by tragedy. Boosie Badazz had walked through hell multiple times: prison, addiction, illness, bullets, loss, and yet he continued to stand tall. He could have been broken. He could have been forgotten. He could have been another cautionary tale, but instead he became proof that survival isn't just about escaping death. It's about facing it head on, learning from it, and refusing to let it control your life. And through all of this, the one constant was his voice. His music, his words, and his presence became a living testament to endurance. Every verse carried the weight of a life fully lived under pressure, a life that had seen the darkest corners of existence and emerged, time and time again, with a story to tell. Even after surviving cancer, bullets, and the streets, Boosie's life refused to slow down. Just because the worst had passed didn't mean the universe had given him a break. The scars of the past were still fresh, the losses still heavy, and new challenges kept emerging, testing the man he had become. By the time he hit his late 30s, Boosie had already seen more death and destruction than most people witness in multiple lifetimes. In January 2023, Boosie faced another legal battle, a federal gun case. For some, this could have been the breaking point. For Boosie, it was another obstacle to navigate, another chance to prove his resilience. By January 2026, the case was resolved. Time served, supervised release, community service, and a fine. Once again, he dodged the worst-case scenario, but the fight had taken its toll. Every brush with the law reminded him that the streets never truly let go, that survival was a daily grind, and that every decision carried consequences. Through all the chaos, Boosie's personal life was a storm of grief and heartbreak. The losses kept stacking up. His father passed when he was 13, his older brother killed in a car wreck, his grandmother and grandfather gone within weeks of each other, 2 uncles, 2 aunts, and countless homies lost to violence. He estimates over 110 people close to him have died. Most of them were taken violently. Each loss left a mark, a reminder of life's fragility and the cost of living on the edge. Boosie has always been honest about his mental health struggles. PTSD, anxiety, the trauma of witnessing bodies drop since he was a child, and decades of surviving life-or-death situations shaped him in ways that few could understand. He doesn't go to therapy, choosing instead to push through, to channel pain into music, business, and the pursuit of a better life. His mindset reflects the streets he grew up in. You either survive or you don't, and there's no time to dwell on weakness. Despite all of this, Boosie remains fiercely loyal. Even when facing death row or bullets, even when legal battles threatened his freedom, he refused to cooperate with authorities in ways that could harm those around him. Rats, he says, are selfish. When someone snitches, it's not just themselves who suffer, it's families, children, and communities. His philosophy earned him respect nationwide. Loyalty and respect were more valuable to him than temporary safety or material gain. But survival didn't just mean avoiding prison or bullets, it meant building a life in spite of everything. After his health crises and legal battles, Boosie doubled down on music and business. Every track he recorded carried the weight of his life experience, the authenticity of someone who had stared death down multiple times. Fans could feel it in his voice, his bars, the raw energy that no studio or producer could manufacture. His story, his pain, and his victories were embedded in every verse. Even health remained a constant concern. Diabetes, a past of heavy lean consumption, kidney cancer, heart conditions, and bullet wounds. Each was a reminder that survival is more than a mindset. It's about maintaining your body, your health, and your focus every single day. Boosie took it seriously. He worked out relentlessly, trained with professionals, and pushed himself to rebuild physically as much as mentally. Recovery for him wasn't a one-time thing, it was a lifelong commitment. Violence continued to follow him. November 14, 2020, his 38th birthday, he got shot in the leg during a vigil for a fallen friend. These incidents weren't accidents. They were reminders that life in the streets never truly stops, that every step comes with danger, and that survival isn't guaranteed. Yet Boosie continued moving forward, refusing to let fear dictate his life. The weight of his experiences shaped him into more than a survivor. It shaped him into a symbol, a man who had faced death row, addiction, cancer, bullets, and devastating personal losses and had come out the other side. Each battle, each scar, each tear, and each triumph reinforced who he was, a man who refuses to break. His life is proof that resilience isn't just a word, it's a way of living. Boosie's story is also a lesson about the cost of loyalty and the price of living in a violent environment. Every choice carries consequences, and every action can ripple far beyond what you see. He learned early that respect matters more than fame or money, that loyalty can be more valuable than freedom, and that survival isn't just about your own life. It's about protecting the people around you. Even with all he's endured, Boosie never lost sight of what's important. His music, his family, his values, and his commitment to living life on his own terms guide him through the chaos. He's proof that no matter how much life knocks you down, how many bullets you dodge, or how many deaths you witness, it's possible to keep moving forward, to keep fighting, and to carve out a legacy that can't be erased. And that legacy is more than just surviving. It's about teaching, warning, and inspiring the next generation. Every bar he spits, every story he shares, carries the weight of experience, a raw insight into life in a world that is unforgiving. Boosie's life is a blueprint for resilience, a testament to survival, and a cautionary tale for those who underestimate the streets or the cost of living by their rules. Through all the darkness, all the pain, all the bullets, all the hospitals, all the losses, Boosie Badazz has remained true to himself. He's lived through moments that would have broken anyone else, yet he walks forward, teaching a lesson with every step. Survival isn't just about getting out alive. It's about staying true, staying loyal, and refusing to let the world take away your soul. Even as he navigates ongoing challenges, legal or personal, Boosie continues to push forward. Music, business, training, and family anchor him. His journey reminds us that no matter how impossible the odds, human resilience, loyalty, and courage can defy expectation. Boosie's story isn't just about survival, it's about triumph in the face of relentless adversity. The man who stared down death row, cancer, bullets, and the endless losses of loved ones didn't just survive, he evolved. He became stronger, wiser, and more respected than ever. And his story isn't finished yet. Every day is another battle, another opportunity to prove that no matter how dark life gets, there's always a way forward for those who refuse to give up. Through it all, one thing remains clear. Boosie Badazz isn't just a survivor. He's a living testament to what it means to endure, to fight, and to rise above a world that's constantly trying to take everything away. His life is proof that no matter how heavy the weight, how many bullets fly, how many doctors deliver bad news, or how many people you lose, resilience, loyalty, and survival can make a man unbreakable. Boosie Badazz's story isn't just about surviving. It's about facing impossible odds and coming out stronger every single time. From death row to addiction, cancer, bullets, and heartbreaking losses, he's lived a life that proves resilience isn't just a word, it's a way of living. His journey is raw, real, and a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there's a path forward if you refuse to give up. If Boosie's story inspired you or gave you a new perspective on survival, loyalty, and strength, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more real stories from the streets, the music world, and beyond. Want to dive deeper? Check out the videos on your screen right now to explore more jaw-dropping stories, exclusive insights, and lessons from people who refuse to be broken by life. Leave a comment below with your thoughts. What part of Boosie's journey hit you the hardest? We love hearing from you. Remember, stories like this aren't just entertainment. They're lessons, warnings, and proof that resilience, loyalty, and courage can change your life. Stay tuned, stay informed, and keep pushing forward, no matter what life throws your way.